Hi, let's talk about raises. And I know for a lot of people, this is an uncomfortable topic, but if you're like many of other people, you might be thinking, I don't need to ask for a raise. I mean, after all, maybe my company gives out raises once or twice a year, so I'll get a raise when it's raise time. And that makes sense. And that's what I thought for a while. Here's the thing though, that are you going to get the best raise possible when it's raise time? Because if you're not comfortable talking to your boss about raises, there may be other people in your group or your department that will talk about getting a raise. And some of those people might get the raise that you want. So what I want to do in this short video is I want to talk to you about 3 things that you need to know about getting a raise. So important facts that are going to help you, and they're very, very practical. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Laura Brown, and I'm an author. So I have 2 of my 10 books here. So that book in the middle, Increase Your Income, 7 Rules for Women Who Want to Make More Money at Work, was written with my wonderful co-author, Jill Ferguson, and that just came out a couple of months ago. And that is very specific about helping you to decide exactly what you need to do to either get a raise or, if you're getting a new job, to negotiate a better salary. So that's my most recent book. But before that, I took the 7 rules that I have been teaching women for years, and I actually put it in a parable, in a story. And that's the book on the right. It's called The Salary Cinderella Story, or How to Make More Money Without a Fairy Godmother. And the main character is unhappy at work, and she decides, I really need to make more money and get a promotion. And by using the 7 rules, she actually does. So again, there's the nonfiction and the fiction book. In addition, I'm also a business coach, so I coach many men and women to be more successful at work. In my history, I have been a corporate trainer. I was in HR for global tech companies for many years. And the reason I mention that is when you think about getting a raise and you think about performance management, you may not know what goes on behind the scenes, but I do. And I can share that with you because I've been involved in many situations where somebody asked for a raise and the leader, the manager, had to come to human resources and we had to figure it out. And so I can give you sort of that background information. I can give you that information that you might not be privy to. In addition, I worked for a company called Women Unlimited for almost 10 years. And they're a company that trains and coaches high potential women from Fortune 1000 companies. So I worked with a lot of women and helped them to see what they needed to do, the practical steps to be more successful at work. So the point is, I have a lot of experience training and coaching women, and I want to help you. And so that's why today I'm going to give you 3 little bits of advice that can help you when you think about getting a raise at work. So first thing, number 1, and this is so important. When your boss meets with you to give you a raise, it's too late to make any changes. So now you sit down with your boss and your boss has a piece of paper and says, I'm happy to give you a 1% or 2% raise, and then slips that piece of paper to you. And you're sitting there thinking, 2%, oh my gosh, has my boss forgotten about the great project I did? Or has my boss forgotten about this? Or maybe my boss, isn't taking into consideration all these things. Here's the deal though. If you're sitting down and talking to your boss, there is almost no chance that your boss is going to change it, because it would mean going back and fighting with his or her boss, fighting with human resources, and then maybe also fighting with senior leadership. So if you want to make sure that you get the best raise possible, you have to start a couple of months in advance. I don't mean a couple of weeks, because again, a couple of weeks, the boss might be way into the process because the process takes a while. So if you want to make more money, you need to start early talking to your boss. Absolutely key. Number 2, you need to ask for what you want clearly, not hint or suggest or hope. And I know it's hard. It's hard to clearly ask. It feels very uncomfortable. We'd rather just sort of hint and slip it in there. That doesn't work, especially with very direct people, because they don't really hear it. So I'll give you an example. So before I worked with one woman, she said, well, this isn't going to work because I already asked my boss for a raise and nothing happened. And I said, okay, well, tell me what you said. And she said, okay, well, I said to my boss, it would be nice to make more money. And he just sort of laughed and said, yeah, it would. And so I paused for a minute and I pointed out to her that what she said wasn't actually a request. It was simply a comment. And he took it as sort of like, yeah, we all would like to make more money. So he didn't actually see it as a specific request. So what she had to do was actually go back and specifically say to him, I'd like to talk to you about my salary. I'm interested in getting a salary increase. So again, if you have tried to ask for a raise before, I want you to think about, did you clearly ask or did you hint or suggest? Because hinting and suggesting and hoping is not a good strategy. It won't get you what you want. Finally, number 3, this is a really interesting one. Ask for what you want and stop talking. So use silence to your advantage. And here's what I mean. So a lot of times, especially if we're, I don't know, if we're feeling uncomfortable, if we're kind of embarrassed that we're bringing this up because it doesn't feel like we should be talking about it, we keep talking. And so you might say something like, look, I know it's not a good time, but I just wanted to sort of check with you on the raise, or I know I don't have as much experience as other people, or I know, I probably can't get it. So what you're doing by your nervousness is you're basically telling your boss, say no, say no. Here are the reasons you should say no to me. And so it's easy for your boss to say no. Don't let that happen. Ask for the raise, and then let silence do its work. Wait until your boss says something. And I just recently talked to a woman who was in one of my classes, and she told me that she asked for and got a raise. And she said it was a very different situation from when she's tried to get a raise before. And I said, well, what happened? And she walked me through it. One of the big things she pointed out was she asked and she stopped. And she said, I was so uncomfortable because she's the kind of person that just keeps talking and wanted to keep talking and wanted to fill that uncomfortable silence. But she realized that she shouldn't. And her boss paused, and her boss said, oh, okay, I did not realize, and asked a couple of questions. And then her boss went back, worked with human resources, and came back and gave her the raise that she wanted. So by the fact that she stopped talking, it helped her from not talking her boss out of the raise. So those are just a couple of quick things. There's so much other information. And you might be saying, but. Okay, I know that there are many things that could hold you back. So some of the issues I hear are, I don't want my boss to be mad at me. It would be so uncomfortable. Or I don't want to hear the word no. If I ask, my boss might say no to me. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to give you a couple of different videos that will give you some more information. In the next video, I'm going to tell you what happened when I asked for a raise the first time and how you can make it easier for you when you ask for a raise. Now, spoiler alert here, I was really nervous about hearing no. I asked for a raise and it did not go well at all. I'm going to tell you what I did wrong and what I started to do differently in the future. Now, I want to make sure you get this information because I'm going to post it in 2 days. But in case you don't see it, I don't want you to miss it. So if you go to the link in the first comment, you'll click on it and you'll get on the list to get the information first before I post it to anybody else. In addition, you'll get a copy of the quiz, 15 common raise mistakes women make and how to avoid or fix them. And so it's really important for you to start thinking about, are these things holding me back? And if so, it's got some specific things that you can do to help you to not get held back and to start to think about, how can I get the raise that I want? I just want to thank you for the time. Thanks for joining me for this video. My name's Laura Brown. If you have any questions, my email is laura.brown@careertipsforwomen.com. I look forward to having you join me at one of my future videos to tell you more about how you can get that raise that you want and deserve. Thanks so much. Bye.